My name is Isandro. I'll be explaining how to draw in 1, 2, and 3-point perspective. Yeah. So I wanted to do this because it's a concept in art that I like and have a good grasp on in comparison to other concepts, primarily because it involves more like basic knowledge of line work than it does like shading and other techniques. It does involve shading eventually, but not in this situation. To start out, I'll show how to use 1-point perspective. For 1-point perspective, you will first draw a 2D square like this. Oh, I forgot. To create any of these perspective drawings, you will need to draw a horizon line across here. The horizon line is not technically there, so it can be erased at any time, but you should always have your dots on that same axis. The 2 dots will be used for 2-point perspective, but for now we'll only use the first one. For this, we'll draw a line between each corner of the I don't have a ruler right now, so we'll draw a line between each part of this to the dot. Like that. It now looks like a rectangle that's going off into like infinite space because it's going to the horizon line, or the vanishing point. Now, in order to make it a cube, we'll draw upwards like that, parallel to the vertical line of the squares, of the 2D square, and across, also parallel. The eraser isn't very good, but yeah, you can shade this the most because it's the darkest side, the lighter side, and the top side will have the most light exposed, so barely any shading. 1-point perspective is good for quickly making 2D shapes that are in the distance of an image, but is not the best for close-up 3D images of non-organic shapes that will be in the focal point. Whereas 2-point perspective is a lot better for that because it is inherently more realistic. 3-point perspective is a little more situational, with the 3rd point being very specific in where it has to be placed. Like on this paper, I cannot put the 3rd point down here, otherwise any image that I draw would look way too abstractly skewed towards the bottom. The vanishing point would be way too low. In order for it to be realistic, all the lines would have to go in, would have to converge like this. Like, you can barely notice it's not a straight line. It's not a vertical line. If I were to put it down here, all the vertical lines would then look like this. That's not realistic. So a 2-point, so like your 3rd point is normally way up above then, or way below. And when you would use 3-point is if you're looking up at a building, up at like a really tall skyscraper or something, or if you're looking down from the top of a really tall skyscraper. Sorry. If you were, but so because of that, I am not going to draw a 3-point perspective because I don't have a paper big enough. But I will draw a 2-point to demonstrate it. For 2-point, the vertical line is still vertical because in most cases you don't really have to worry about 3-point unless it's a really drastically tall building. I'm not sure if that's the right wording, but still. So you make one line go this way to this dot. Wrong. Forget it. You make the other line go over here. You will also make this line, because it's on this side, go here. This one go here. To make it a full cube, you'll draw your last two vertical lines here and here to distinguish the borders. Then from here, it's supposed to go this way to this vanishing point in order to provide the correct. I forgot how to word it, but that's where it's supposed to go, because it's supposed to go that way, and this one is supposed to go in the opposite direction to the other point in order to make a cube. It's not exact in this version. However, I can demonstrate it better if I were to show this first image that I drew. For example, this would be proper 3-point perspective. You can't actually see the bottom vanishing point because it would go off the screen, or page in this case. This is how it would look like if it was wrong, if it was too low, if it was too close to the other points. For a better example, here are 1-point perspective, 2-point perspective, and 3-point. 3-point looks almost exactly the same as 2-point unless it is a full tall building. So in almost every case, unless you are explicitly trying to go for a specific kind of look, from a perspective, from like a certain angle, do not use 3-point, just use 2-point. Because it's more realistic and helps you just do it faster on a smaller page. And yeah, that's basically all you need to know about 1, 2, and 3-point perspective. Keep in mind it only works for non-organic shapes. Non-organic shapes being shapes like cubes and bricks and other man-made non-natural shapes. For something like a leaf or a tree, which are natural and have natural like curves and stuff, the way you would make that look three-dimensional is by using texture, value, and other shading techniques. Same with a human body. Like, you would not use perspective for a human body because the shapes are just like basically the underlying general form of each body part, meaning they don't need to follow perspective because they're like bending, and most of them are round anyways. So, and that's the other thing, a sphere or other round objects, another round 3-dimensional objects are considered are not considered non-organic objects. Correction, they to make it more clear, they're considered organic objects, so you would not need to draw them in perspective at all. However, I am not going to go over how to draw a sphere because I am not good at it myself. So, yeah, that's about it.